When Mara's parents died in a violent storm off the jagged coast, the village whispered that fate had cursed her, alone and grieving. She was sent to live with her Uncle Thorne, a man whose shadow always seemed longer than his body. Villagers spoke of him only in hushed tones, and children were warned to avoid his estate, which loomed at the edge of the Blackpine Forest, where twisted trees blocked the sunlight and the air carried a perpetual chill. The house itself groaned at night, as if weary of holding the dark secrets within its walls. Its tall, crooked windows and blackened beams seemed to lean forward, listening. When Mara arrived, Uncle Thorne greeted her on the doorstep. He smiled, but the smile was too tight, stretched at the edges as if painted on. "Welcome home," he said. Mara forced a polite nod, but his words fell hollow, and the house felt colder than any home she had ever known. That first night, Thorne handed her a piece of parchment with 3 rules written in neat, old-fashioned script. 1. Never enter the West Wing. 2. Never leave your room after midnight. 3. Never, under any circumstances, follow the sound of crying. He didn't explain why. He didn't need to. The rules felt ancient, older than the house, older than him, and the weight of them pressed against Mara's chest like the chill of the forest beyond. She obeyed at first, staying in her room and avoiding the forbidden wing. But the house had a way of seeping into her mind, whispering secrets in the dark. Every shadow seemed alive, every distant creak like a warning. On the 7th night, Mara woke to a soft, persistent sobbing drifting through the halls. It sounded like a child. It sounded like her. She pressed her ear to the door, heart pounding. The crying grew louder, farther down the corridor. Curiosity battled fear within her. She wanted to follow it, to understand. But she remembered rule number 2. She stayed in bed, hands clutching the blanket, listening to the sound that both called to her and terrified her. Just before dawn, slow, dragging footsteps approached her door. Mara froze, eyes wide. Then she heard his voice, low and cold, a whisper that sent shivers down her spine. "Good girl." Days passed. Thorne watched her constantly, at meals in the garden, even through doorways when he thought she wasn't looking. Mara felt like a mouse being fattened for something dark and terrible. One afternoon, Thorne dozed in his study, the house heavy and silent. A door slammed somewhere deep in the West Wing, echoing down the hall. Rule number 1 whispered in Mara's mind, warning her to stay away. But the faint, familiar crying drifted again, pulling her forward like a magnet. She followed it, each step stirring the dust that coated the abandoned hallway. Portraits with scratched-out faces lined the walls, staring down at her with empty eyes. At the end of the corridor, she found a door wrapped in thick, rusty chains. The crying came from behind it. Mara reached out, trembling. Then a cold hand clamped onto her shoulder. "You weren't supposed to see this," he hissed, his once friendly smile gone, replaced by something sharp and predatory. "Not yet." He dragged her toward the chain door. Mara struggled, but he was strong, his grip unyielding. From within the room, something clawed at the wood, scratching desperately. "Families have obligations," he whispered reverently. Just as he lifted the key to unlock the chains, a thunderclap shook the house. The door burst open, not from his hand, but from inside. A girl stepped out, pale, hollow-eyed. She looked exactly like Mara. Same face, same age, same terrified expression. Mara froze. "He kept me here," the girl whispered, voice trembling. "He said he needed a spare." Thorne snarled and lunged, but the 2 girls pushed past him, racing through the hallways. The walls seemed to pulse with dark power. They didn't stop until the forest swallowed the estate behind them, until Thorne's furious, inhuman roars echoed into the night. The villagers believed the fire that consumed Thorne's estate was an accident. Old houses collapsed all the time, they said, and no one questioned it. But Mara knew better. Uncle Thorne had never been fully human. The cry in the halls hadn't been meant to lure her. It had been meant to warn her. Sometimes, late at night, Mara still hears it. Soft, distant, and chilling, a reminder that some evils don't burn. They wait,